In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. TenexToken. Play smart, play discreet.
This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. It's Sunday afternoon. Sunday after a big night of heavyweight boxing at the O2. Fabio Wardley stops Joseph Parker in round 11. Gareth A. Davies, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Joe. As you know, I've just been to the gym. It was a very late night. Had a nice feed, and I'm assessing all the lots of work to do after the event last night. A very, very dramatic night, a very thrilling night at the O2 Arena, and I think a star was born last night. It's an absolute thrill and a privilege and an honour to be there to see two very big men go at it unbelievably, relentlessly, mercilessly almost for 10 rounds and 100 and what was it, 10 rounds and 66 seconds. No,
Yeah.
it's no 114 seconds because it was stopped 1 minute 54 into round 11, which might be quite consequential as we carry on the chat today. How are you?
I'm very well, a little bit tired, but we go again. We go again. What are you drinking, Gareth? That looks like a mysterious concoction there.
Well, it's not tequila.
Ooh,
It's a lychee mogu mogu
okay.
mixed with sugar-free Red Bull.
What is a mogu mogu out of interest? I
I
actually
don't
don't
know. I just picked it up from the fucking garage. It looked quite nice
know.
on the way home. I just picked it from the garage and it had lychee lumps in it. And I thought, oh, that looks quite nice. And I thought I'll mix it with a Red Bull. There's no tequila in there, and because I've just done a couple of miles on the rowing machine and 25 minutes cycling, so I just needed to replenish a little bit. I just treated myself, probably loads of sugar in it, which I don't normally do. No, water, nata de coco, yeah, sugar, fructose. Oh God, I better not start reading those, otherwise I'll be flapping. Um, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Let's start at the kind of first half of the fight, Gareth. I know Fabio Wardley had success in the second and third round, but what was you thinking heading into the second half of the fight?
Well, I'll pull up my scorecard here. I was scoring it live for the Telegraph on the live blog. Um, I had it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I had one of the early rounds that I gave to Wardley.
Mm,
I gave Parker. Oh yeah, I gave Parker 1 and Wardley 2 and 3,
yeah.
and then I had Parker winning all the way up to round 10. I gave to Wardley, so I had it 7 rounds to 3. There might have been one swing round there. Second round, Wardley was very dominant, and I thought came close to stopping Joe. He spat his gum shield out, bought a bit of time. The referee's been criticised a little bit for that, where he should have allowed the fight to go on. Had a little word with Frank Warren about that this morning on text. He pointed that out, and it was a good recall on that. But really, and I could hear the corner because we could hear it as I was doing the broadcast, presenting the broadcast on TalkSport. We were going into the corners, and Andy Lee, with 3 rounds to go, was saying, "Just box, you got this," and he was well ahead. But there's something doughty and resilient and determined and dogged, and there's a resilience and self-belief about Fabio Wardley that brought it on strong. And in the 10th he took a lot out of Joseph Parker. And I think Joseph had thrown his best shots at that point, and there seemed to be a fade or a fatigue in him, and Fabio just capitalised in the 11th round. So I did need Fabio. I did have Fabio needing a stoppage or a couple of knockdowns to reverse the fight, but I didn't really see him hurt during the fight. He was hit to his boots at times. Joe landed some very, very big shots. But I think the guy in there I saw more hurt throughout the course of the fight was probably Joseph.
I think there was no doubt about Fabio's power going into this, as we saw with the Justice Hooney fight last time and the Fraser Clark second fight. Uh, but I think before we even talking about the stoppage, I think it's undoubtable now Fabio Wardley's chin. Because as you say, there were big, big shots throughout the fight landed by Joseph Parker, and all it seemed to do is rile up Fabio even more.
I don't see him as riled. What I see him is very, very calm and composed, and absolutely with a kind of self-belief and a steeliness that you don't see in many guys, many fighters. And we're seeing it as he climbs each rung of the ladder, that he is very capable, and he's got self-belief in his own physicality, which is very, very unusual as a heavyweight. Which I think he showed that he's got world-class qualities in many ways of those things, those descriptions of him that I mentioned just now. World-class belief, world-class determination, and an elite level chin, and an unorthodoxy that allows him to get away with things in there at points in the fight. And he keeps his game plan simple. He's incredible. I really do think we have unearthed in British sport a gem on Saturday night. Everyone's going to be feeling it for Joseph Parker because he's such a popular guy and he's willing to take on anyone, and you have to admire him for that. But Fabio Wardley is climbing to. Definitely deserves to be in world class, and I haven't mentioned it, he's got world class power as well.
Let's talk about the stoppage then. Just under a minute left of the 11th round when Hal Foster did step in. First of all, live, before you watched it back, what did you think of the stoppage?
It was 1 minute 6 seconds to go when he stopped it.
Okay.
The round 1:54 they've got. I just checked on BoxRec as we were getting started. My immediate reaction was that it was slightly premature when he stepped between there, but we have the benefit of the screen in front of us on the desk, and in the moment I probably felt it was premature because I thought, oh, that's strange. Howard stepped in there, and it was just as Fabio missed with a couple of punches and landed one, but counting back the barrage and looking at the action again, I think one punch came back, but I think there was a barrage of about 40 punches from Fabio, not all landing, some landing on the gloves. There was a little push from Parker to Howard Foster as if to say, no, you can't stop this. But I'm of the school of thought, and I'm always of this school of thought, that when a fighter is under enormous pressure, I'd rather see it stopped 10 seconds early than 10 seconds too late. And I think another sustained attack in that last 66 seconds remaining in the round maybe would have been too much. They can run this fight back if they want to. There was enough in it. It was so thrilling, so entertaining, relentless. They never paused, did they? There was no pause in the fight. All they did was shake themselves down every now and again and go again. It was and I have the privilege of being a couple of feet. I've got one row in front of me. It's the DAZN broadcast with Carl and Darren and Adam and who else was there? Carl, Darren, Adam. Who am I forgetting? And Barry. And we're so close to the action. Um, I thought it was one of the best heavyweight fights. It rescued the year in many ways. It's certainly the heavyweight fight of the year, in my view. And that O2 Arena has got habits of bringing the best out of people. It was electric in there, wasn't it? They said there was going to be about 12,000. It felt full by the time we got the main event. It was a thrilling atmosphere. A lot of scraps in the crowd last night, weren't there? I don't know if you noticed that, or you were out the back doing interviews. But look, it was really tough for Joseph Parker, but you have to take your hat off to Fabio Wardley for what he's achieved. 8 years ago, working in an office as a headhunter, now he's an altogether different type of headhunter now, isn't he? He ain't in recruitment anymore. He's in ownership.
I like that. That's good. Just before we talk about Fabio and what's going to come of him, do you believe that Joseph Parker might wake up this morning with a slight bit of regret for taking this fight?
No, I think he expressed that to you guys afterwards on his walk out. I think Coogan was with him.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I'll fight everyone. I'll still fight everyone. I think he even said, let's roll it back. Obviously, Fabio will want Alexander Usyk, but Usyk may not want Fabio at this point. The money may not be right. The draw may not be big enough of the crowd, although I think they could probably get a very big crowd now for Fabio. I think half of East Anglia would turn out for him now. And he will have garnered a lot of fans on Saturday night. And I hung around with a lot of the fans who'd come down the A12 and the M11 and into East London to Docklands to watch that fight. And he will be a local as well as national hero, and he does deserve a lot of plaudits. So, no, I think Joe's built that way. Obviously, he's going up, and then he has a catastrophic moment, and he goes up and he has a catastrophic moment. But he's still a young veteran, and he's come up against a guy who seems impermeable in the heavyweight division. 21 fights now, 19 stoppages. His first fight was a points victory in the draw with Fraser Clark. So it's incredible. It's an incredible story. He's incredible. If Usyk wants to fight him, I think it's a very good fight. I don't think he beats Usyk. I mean, I picked Parker to win this one with the caveat that Fabio could be very dangerous and stop him. We didn't perhaps think it would be an assault of that nature. We thought it might be a one-punch knockout. But it just leaves you thrilled. I'm still thrilled by it today. You're thinking about it every other second. Everybody's talking about it. There's plenty to talk about. Most people are talking about was it an early stoppage, a premature stoppage by Howard Foster. Obviously, there's the history of Carl Froch and George Groves all those years ago, whenever it was, 2012, 2013, whenever it was, that led to that amazing night at Wembley Stadium that heralded all these, kind of modern Wembley Stadium fights, and the 80,000 and the cannonball right hand that Carl Froch will live off for the next 50 years, apart from the amazing career he had. But I think most people, I mean, I've seen on social media a lot of people complaining about it, that it was a British decision and all these things, but in the balance of safety, I think it was the right decision.
If Usyk decides to vacate that WBO title and fight someone else, or Usyk might not even fight till next summer, do you think the only fight is the rematch? Because it did produce last night, didn't it?
Well, so did Parker, to be fair, for 10 and a half rounds.
Yeah, not just Wardley, just the fight
It's
produced.
produced. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fight produced. I would easily watch a rematch, and I think many people would go to a rematch. Let's hope Usyk takes up the challenge, because it means all the cards fall into place. And if I digress for a moment, yes to the rematch as well. But you look at it last night and the phalanx of heavyweights, the celebrated group of heavyweights under Frank Warren who were there last night, from Tyson Fury to Daniel Dubois to David Adelaide to Lawrence Okoli, Dillian White, Derek Chisora. I think I've named them all.
Caballero.
And Adja Caballel, of course, and Jarrell Miller. I mean, obviously those two aren't British, but the last two, but what a turnout. Apart from Usyk and Anthony Joshua of the people we're talking about all the time, we literally had a top 10 there last night, or a top 15. So, and yet, when they lined up on stage with Frank Warren to be interviewed by Adi Oladipo, my colleague Adi Oladipo for DAZN, all of those guys, Fury, Adelaide, Okoli, Itauma, Dubois, they haven't got fights at the moment. They're all going to fight, but none of them is matched at the moment. So it was rather an odd interlude, because we even thought that Derek and Dillian were going to be announced, but it transpired, and I watched your interview with them, or with Coogan. Was it with you or with Coogan?
With Coogan, yeah.
Yeah, a very odd repartee between Derek and Dillian, between Chisora and White, in which, reading between the lines, for the last couple of days, it looks like the Moses Itauma fight may be changed from December the 13th, because they were hinting at December the 20th last night in a headline fight with Chisora and White, which isn't finally signed. And I'd spoken to Derek the night before, believe it or not, and I said, I'm disappointed you're not fighting Jarrell Miller, but it looks like there's certainly some heat between Chisora and White still. They nearly not came to blows, but Derek started to call Dillian out at one point, and he wasn't having any of it. And I think Derek was looking for a fight, wasn't he?
It was very awkward, wasn't it? It was a strange
So it should
exchange.
be. So it should be. They're rivals, those guys, and they're going to fight. But what was strange afterwards was Derek saying, I'll call the cops. We don't want the cops called. We want those two going at it. Look, I said to Derek that now I've seen them together. I thought Dillian was very composed last night. It was nice to see him. I didn't have a chance to have a word with him last night. He was a little subdued, but great to see him. And what a turnout having all those guys there. I mean, hello, America. Where are your heavyweights? I'm interviewing Oscar De La Hoya tomorrow night, and I shall certainly take that up with him, because there's a dearth of heavyweights there. So in answer to your question, to do the round, yes, a rematch. I think that works. But I do hope for Fabio that we get a fight with Alexander Usyk. Because who else is he going to fight right now? Maybe other than Caballel.
But Caballel's fighting in January. We don't know the opponent yet.
Yeah, but also, as Frank Warren says, the WBO is the next in line for Usyk to defend against, if he chooses to keep rather than vacate the belt.
Do you think it goes a little bit under the radar of how unbelievable it was that Dillian White, all those years ago, sparred Fabio Wardley, saw the talent and signed him up, and has now got him into a position where he is fighting for the undisputed world title and beating guys like Justice Hooney, Joseph Parker last night, Fraser Clark, David Adelaide? Because when Dillian sparred him in 2017, 2018, he was the white collar guy.
Yeah, I mean, the stats are incredible. When Joseph Parker was fighting Andy Ruiz in a close fight, winning a majority decision to win that WBO belt back in 2016, Fabio was having his first white collar fights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an extraordinary journey. It really is a fairy tale, a prize fighting fairy tale. but he's got those kind of qualities of a Rocky Marciano or a Deontay Wilder, as Ben Davison calls him. And I spoke to Rob Hodgins this week, his coach from Suffolk Punch Gym in Ipswich, Martlesham, just outside Ipswich, and he was saying that even when Fabio was a young teenager on the books at Ipswich Town, and when he met him at a thing called Positive Futures, a program for young people when he was a teenager, he stood out as someone with great athleticism. And I think we see that every time Fabio, he's got an incredible chin, he's got freakish power. They said as soon as he walked in the gym, because he'd met him when he was young, as soon as he walked in the gym as a 20-year-old, Rob Hodgins said he turned his back and Fabio was in there sparring with the amateurs. He was just in there. He was in the ring sparring. And if you look back, and this week I did look at some of his white collar fights, he looked good then and had a shape. Obviously, he was overmatched with the guys he was fighting in white collar, but he's got a good shape about him when he postures up, and he's got that unusual way of ducking away and going low. But that may not work against Alexander Usyk, who is the master of angles, and angles that Parker couldn't master to hit him flush last night either, apart from the straight punches. So, yeah, it's an extraordinary story. And as Ben Davison has revealed, he popped down there to do sparring a few years ago as well. And people have been watching him for a while. So, you know, he's been in two camps with Alexander Usyk as well. He's done a lot behind the scenes. He exuded the confidence of a man knowing what task he could complete during the week, as you look back on it. I think that confidence will have grown again. You will always give Fabio Wardley now a chance against anyone, because he has that heart as well and that doggedness that we have seen against Adelaide, against Gorman, Adelaide, against Fraser Clark in the first fight, now against Joseph Parker, against Justice Hooney, who was actually a trickier mover when you look back on it than Joseph is. But Joseph nailed his colours to the mast yesterday and went for it as well. His attacks were vicious and varied as well. So, it was an amazing event to be involved in. I'm, as I say, I'm still thrilled to the bone to have been there.
Where do you rate Fabio Wardley in the top 10 heavyweights now, Gareth?
That's a very good question. I think he moves up. I'm just looking at that list. Let me have a little look.
So Usyk's number one. Let's just get that out of the way. Usyk's number one.
Well, I might sound a little controversial here. Usyk's one. Fury's still got to be at 2. I'm going to move Wardley right up to 3.
Above Caballero?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I'll say is fair play, Fabio Wardley.
Yeah.
Top
Parker
3.
4. Parker 4. No, so Fabio 3. Caballero 4. Parker 5 right now.
That's
1,
mad.
2. Yeah, what would you? Are you going to disagree with me?
No,
Come
I'm
on.
not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's mad that Fabio Wardley, and eternal respect for getting
Number
into
3
that
in the world
position.
right now. Number 3 in the world. I mean it. A star was born. A star was born. It's a fairy tale. It really is a fairy tale. And you know what I also like? And I spoke to Shoni, his mum, afterwards. She was sitting behind me, and I met Shoni when he fought Shoni Lee. I met her when he fought Fraser Clark the first time and had a long chat with her. And I got her on air and I said, were you worried about your son during the fight? No, she said, no, not at any point. I was just worried about Joseph Parker, what he'd do to Joseph Parker. She brought him up, and I'll tell you something else. he is a very classy, and both those men who fought last night are classy. We know how classy Joe is. But Fabio, the humility, I didn't get to post-fight interview him yesterday because I was doing the presenting and Spencer did that. And it's a great privilege to be with people when they're full of adrenaline and have just won. And you really get a sense of the person. But his humility is extraordinary, you know, as was Joe's as the loser. And his the magnanimous way he gave the plaudits to Fabio. But apart from even having a laugh at himself, Fabio, I think his humility will take him a very, very long way. In the same way that Usyk comes across as very humble, because they never take for granted that they've just been through something and have won an amazing victory. And that speaks volume for both the way Shoney Lee brought him up and also for the entire team around him. And he's got a great team around him with Rob and the guys at Zach and Matt at Brennan and Zach Askew at Suffolk Punch and Lee Wiley and Ben Davison and Barry Smith, some really good group of people. And there's no egos there about who's running. Rob was speaking to me in the week about what a benefit the Ben Davison Performance Centre has brought to the team as well. So I truly hope for him that he does get a fight with Alexander Usyk, but you never know. Usyk may make him fight Kabayel first.
It feels like, and I said this to a few people during the week, Gareth, is 5 years ago, the O2, it felt like we was getting fights every other month at the O2 and big ones at that. And we've kind of been starved of regular fights at the O2 for a while now. And it was, what, 10, 11 years ago, AJ made that his home. And then AJ moved to stadiums. Then Dillian made it his home, headlining. No matter what happens, no matter who he fights, you get the feeling that Fabio can now make that his home and he can now sell out the O2 really for whoever he fights, as long as it is in the top 10, top 15.
Yeah, I agree. And then in the warmer climate, go to Portman Road again
Mm.
and fight at the stadium, which is what's that, 30,000 or something, isn't
Yeah, I
it?
think it's between 30 and 35,000, but don't quote
Yeah,
me
I
on that.
mean, as he joked at the press conference, I'm Usyk, give Usyk my address. I'll fight him in my back garden in Ipswich if I have to. But I'd like to see him fight at the Co-op Live as well, because I'd like to see. I think he's going to be a popular guy
Mm.
throughout the country. But like you say, the O2 is a very special place. I mean, we go back in the day before, you know, when you were still in nappies, Joe. When David Hay was fighting people like Enzo Maccarinelli, and David Hay made it his home as
Yeah.
well. We've had some big nights there, to be honest. Like you say, even before Anthony Joshua came along, it's a cauldron. It's an absolute cauldron in there. And I did enjoy looking around last night because you've got the banked seats and then you've got the boxes above. Obviously, it's an amazing acoustic arena for lots of musical concerts, entertainment in there. And, you know, and we recall the great events there during the Olympics. Gymnastics has been there. It's a great venue. So I think you're right. I think this is a giant moment in time, a seminal moment in the career of Fabio Wardley. This was the acid test to see if he really belonged at that level, which is, you know, he's won English, British, and Commonwealth, hasn't he? Now he was installed as the WBA interim. Now he truly is on the cusp of fighting for a world title. And he probably won't be satisfied if Usyk relinquishes the WBO belt to have it just installed on him, you know, because he's got something to prove. He's got something to prove. It's an incredible story. It's not a normal story to be able to go this far, this quickly, with this little experience. But what he's got is that at world class, and that power at world class, and that at world class. And maybe down there he's world class as well, down in the cojones.
Oh, good job you
What are you
clarified that.
giggling?
Good job you clarified that because Gareth. People take it the wrong way sometimes. There's two
I think he's
people.
got world-class cojones then,
Yeah,
simple as that. I'll put it, but, these boom, 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 everywhere. He's just got it. And like I say, he's softly spoken, humble guy as well, but hard as fucking nails.
two more heavyweights I want to talk to you about before I let you go, Gareth. First of them being Daniel Dubois, who was there last night, and I was pleased to see him. It was kind of the first time, really, we'd seen him since that night at Wembley Stadium in July. And we spoke to him after the fight, and he was pretty vocal. He was in good spirits, and he said he wants the AJ rematch. Whether that happens, I don't know, but
Well,
can't
he
wait.
might want it. Might want it, but I don't think AJ wants that rematch.
Well, but the thing is, Gareth, it's just great to have Daniel Dubois back, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think he'll be fighting Edric Caballel. That's what I'm hearing. That's what they're trying to
What, in
sort out.
January?
Maybe, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it'll be timely. I hope it's that fight. It's a good fight. It's one I'd look forward to. Daniel getting back in the ring against a top contender. What is he? Is he IBF?
Who? Caballel.
Caballel. Yeah.
Caballel's WBC.
He's WBC. Sorry, but yeah, yeah. He's the WBC interim at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good fight for Daniel. It's a hard fight, but it's a good fight.
And finally, Moses Itauma. Again, we spoke to Moses after the fight, and he said he may not necessarily be on that 13th card now. I know Frank Warren's been very vocal about struggles to get opponents outpricing themselves. Is that cause for concern? Because we all know the talent that Moses Itauma possesses, but he needs the dance partners to progress and progress into that world class fighter we know he will become inevitably. Yeah, but he needs the fights, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like the. I mean, again, reading between the lines and seeing those interviews with Derek and Dillian, as mentioned, as aforementioned in our chat on your podcast, as you call them, the it looks from what Dean was saying in the background, Dillian's brother, stroke advisor, colleague. It looks he was hinting, wasn't he, that they could fight a week later on the 20th, and but be that in Manchester or London, wherever. I'd prefer it to be in London, as I think most fans would if Dillian and Derek fight each other. There were rumours for 48 hours leading into, I think Boxing Scene reported, and then Ring Magazine reported it, that the Moses fight could be changed to January. That's down to the fact that Kubrat Pulev is against Murat Gassiev for the WBA regular title, if the title stays on the line, if the WBA don't take any action on the IB, the International Boxing Association symposium and press conference and amateur championships, world amateur championships for 2 weeks from the end of November to December the 12th or 13th, 12th. That's ongoing at the moment. That Frank Warren's challenging the Pulev Gassiev fighting over the WBA regular title that Pulev holds. So that's ongoing, and maybe it's an indication that they don't believe they'll win that, or there's not enough time to win that case to guarantee Moses fight Pulev. So maybe Moses is gonna fight the winner of that. They might strike a deal. It's a shame because I'd like to have seen Moses be more active this year, but the problem they've got is a good problem with Moses, in that people that want to fight him will want a lot of money because they know that they're most likely to be beaten, and they're being thrown in there against the young stud of the division. My overriding feeling with Moses, I don't know if I've expressed this to you publicly or even to you privately, but in recent months, given that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua haven't fought this year, I might have mentioned it to you the last time we spoke. My feeling is slow him down a little bit now and take your time, because I also believe that if Alexander Usyk does stay around till he's 41, I do think we'll see him against Moses. He'll either walk away from a fight with Moses, or we'll see him in a fight with Moses at the very tail end of his career, for a massive payday to finish off. And if we can get all the cards stacked up in the division in that way, we're on for a very, very good couple of years.
Excellent, Gareth. I think we've covered every heavyweight, certainly in the top 15 right now. Gareth,
Shame Anthony Joshua wasn't there last
yeah,
night because it felt like there was a brotherhood with them all there last night. It was nice being around them all, and I'm mates with Jarrell Miller as well. Have been for a long time. I know he's he's done some heinous things in terms of what he's tested for and that, but outside those things, he's still a man I've known for a long time. It was great to see him there last night. And I'd just like to have seen Anthony Joshua in the group. I know he's not promoted by Frank Warren, but do you know what I mean? It would just sort of been nice if he'd been there, because just to realise that he's as much a superstar amongst them all as I want him to know that, and it would have been great to see him with Tyson Fury, whether it be a little bit of banter or a chat or. Tyson Fury was quite quiet and humble around the place last night. I had a nice chat to Shane Fury, and we talked about the two Usyk fights, which were very close. And Shane was pushing the narrative of Fury against Usyk for a third time, which is something that obviously Tyson wants. But like I say, a plea out to Anthony Joshua to not stand apart from everyone, because he belongs. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It would
I
have been
agree.
fitting if he'd been there last night.
It would have, and obviously we look forward to seeing what happens with AJ, with Fury, as we do with the
But he's
rest of the
got
heavyweight
pals there,
division.
though. But what I mean, he's got Moses is his pal. Fabio's his pal. Ben Davison's his pal. Barry Smith's his pal. They were all there last night. He could have been supporting the stable and being there himself. And I wonder sometimes whether he feels welcome, And he should feel welcome because we love him.
Yeah, and the O2 was his home for a very long time,
Yeah,
Gareth. So,
exactly said it.
right, Gareth, what are you doing with the rest of your day?
What am I doing for the rest of the day? I am recording with William Hill tonight for the week ahead, looking at Joshua Buatsi and Zach Parker next weekend. I am going to run down my top 10 heavyweights for them, which is why I was looking at my notes just now. And you've got the headline, obviously, which is Parker's now number 3 in the world. I'm just gonna. What else am I doing? I don't know. I might just chill out for a couple of hours. I've done some exercise. It's quite exhausting. It's actually mentally exhausting and emotionally exhausting after a night like that last night, isn't it?
It is, but we love it. We love it.
I know,
So,
we do. Like, best job in the world.
cheeky tequila?
What now?
No, just tonight when you're
No,
chilling. No.
no.
This is actually a question that probably more for me than anybody
Who's
else.
the biggest ego in boxing?
We've already done this.
No, who's the biggest ego in boxing, Joe P?
Gareth A. Davies.
Oh, fuck. No, it's Kugan Cassius.
No, right. What is the best tequila?
I like a Patron Silver.
Okay.
I like Patron Silver. It's not the most expensive, but I do like it. There's
Silver
loads.
rather than gold, yeah?
Yeah, no, I never do Reposado or Anejo.
Okay.
I'm strictly a Blanco man,
Blanco.
Who's the
Well,
most unpopular person in boxing, Joe?
thank you, Gareth, and I'll see you
You
soon.
started all this on me last time.
I know, but uh, you put yourself into these situations by allowing us to grill you.
I'll tell you who I did run into last night, one of your mates, Terry Stone.
Did you? I didn't see Terry.
Terry was there with his son last night, and I thought we'd met before, but we hadn't. And I was having a little bite to eat in the VIP area in the restaurant before the event kicked off at about 7:15. And I'm a big fan of Rise of the Foot Soldier, because when you go down deepest, darkest fucking Essex, all those geezers are knocking about. So it was really nice to run into him last
You
night.
should go
And I
on his
think
podcast, Gareth.
he asked me to last night. Yeah,
The Criminal
and
Connection.
criminal connection. Yeah, well, I can talk to him about my days of crime, can't I? And bank robberies and all that kind of shit. But no, he's a good fellow, isn't he?
He is. He is. There was a lot of people there last night, but Gareth, we've only got a minute left, so I've got to end this as much as I'd love to
What are you
sit
doing
around.
tonight?
I'm going to a restaurant.
Are you chasing birds around Essex tonight, which you normally do on a Sunday evening?
I definitely don't on a Sunday evening. That's
All right, on
exclusively
Friday
for
and
Friday and
Saturday and
Saturdays.
Thursday. All
Gareth,
right, mate.
cheers, mate. I'll see you soon.
In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. Register now for your share of the $250,000 prize pool. Multiple winners, bigger chances. TenexToken.io. Terms and conditions apply.